begin with breaking news.
Some serious breaking news out of Hawaii right now. We are getting our first look at the damage left behind from a devastating, deadly wildfire tearing through Maui. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ty Steele.
I'm Lisa Gonzalez, and look at this. These are our first aerial pictures, and there is just decimated land here. Only just a shell of what's left. There's maybe one hotel or condominium building still standing. You can see just a lot of burned ground just along the shoreline here. Homes and businesses destroyed in a historic tourist town. A lot of smoke and smoldering debris, as you can see, even some flames. Still seeing some flames here. Officials say at least 6 people are dead and others are still missing right now. Some people even had to jump into the ocean to escape the flames on the island of Maui. The fire raced through the tourist town of Lahaina, including its popular shopping area, which is a historic area. This is video from that area. Some of those buildings more than 200 years old. You can see those buildings on fire and a lot of smoke in the air. Just to give you some perspective, this area is pretty similar to Old Sacramento, right along the riverfront. It's packed with shops, restaurants, tourists, and there are reports of widespread damage to the town and harbor.
Within an hour, the flames had moved all the way down to the end of the neighborhood. And when we were pulling out, you look down and we are onto the highway, and you look down, you look back, and there's cars with flames on both sides of the road, like people stuck in traffic trying to get out, and there's flame on both sides of the road, like something out of a horror movie.
A horror movie indeed, so scary. And right now people are in the hospital with burn injuries. Communications hard to come by with homes and hotels without power. You saw there was a lot of above ground power lines that were right in the middle of the fire, and no cell service, and not a lot of roads to get out or around.
No, there's only a few main roads. Officials say shelters are overflowing right now and resources are of course stretched thin. Laura Aguirre talks to people who've been forced out of their homes and the challenges crews are facing as they try to fight these flames.
It's apocalypse. It's like straight out of the movie.
Many in Maui are under red flag warnings as suffocating smoke and fast-moving flames rage across the western edge of the island.
One of my houses definitely caught fire. The other houses are each a block away.
Challenging terrain along with forceful gusts up to 80 miles an hour at times are some of the factors hampering emergency crews. As flames moved in, some have taken desperate action.
Individuals jumping into the ocean, concerned for their safety. The U.S. Coast Guard retrieved them from the shoreline and took them to safety.
911 is down, cell service is down, phone service is down, and that's been part of the problem.
I still don't know where my little brother is. I don't know where my stepdad is. Everyone I know in Lahaina, their homes have been burned down.
Forecasters say Hurricane Dora, a Cat 4 storm passing nearly 800 miles southwest of Hawaii, is behind some of the high winds blowing across Maui. Another huge concern for state officials, tourists.
We're already working with a local airline to see if we can get tourists off the island to at least house them on another island like Oahu.
Terrifying. Hawaii has declared a state of emergency, and the White House says it's in contact with officials there. I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Now we want to bring in Chief Meteorologist Mark Finan. Mark, what are the winds like right now in Maui? Because we know the winds were a big problem for fueling this fire early on.
Well, yeah, but it's a typical trade winds that they have. Here are the winds that we have right now. And here's Maui, and here's the airport that you land on when you go into Hawaii. And they have a northeasterly wind of 25. Keep in mind that all the damage that you've been seeing is from Lahaina, which is right here. And then on that side of the island, that's the dry side of the island. So between the airport and Lahaina, there's a mountain. And so then when you get the winds coming down that mountain, it's a very dry north wind. It's kind of like when we get our downslope winds on the west slope of the Sierra sometimes. So that's why you have not only very low humidity here, but also very gusty winds. And so once a fire starts, it can spread very quickly. But yeah, these are typical trade winds from the east and to the northeast. Now, there's been a lot of attribution given to the Hurricane Dora, but I really don't think that this hurricane has had anything to do with the winds here. Here's where the storm is now. It's a powerful hurricane. It's a Category 4 hurricane, but here are where the islands are. And yeah, right now the storm is moving away, and the closest this storm got was 600 miles. So I really don't think this played much in the way of a role at all in the winds, but they have had classic trade winds, and they'll continue with winds like that. But the problem in that area is it can be very dry, and once a fire starts with the trade winds gusting down those slopes, a fire can spread very quickly, and it obviously had devastating impacts on the town of Lahaina. Back to you.
Scary stuff, Mark. Thank you. And Maui, of course, is an international travel destination, but visitors are being urged to stay away.
Now, its main airport is still open, but officials say they don't want any tourists to come to Maui right now, and those who are already there should leave.
We are strongly discouraging non-essential travel to Maui, but the airports are still operating efficiently. Right now, last night we had 2,000 people staying over at the airport who got stuck either on the, because they couldn't get on the red eye or they were waiting for other flights to come in. We made sure that we processed them through this morning. We're working with our airline partners on all of that. There's another 4,000 visitors that we're expecting will want to leave the island from the west side.
We'll continue to cover this wildfire and the wildfires on the Big Island and Maui. Coming up in our next half hour, I talk with KCRA3's Mike Cherry, who was born and raised in Maui, and his perspective is very unique to this area, and that is coming up here at 4:30.